afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this special webinar with Wise. We're here today with Brian, as always, and June, who's product lead at Wise. This session will break down what Wise is, how it works, and especially how it integrates with DF Direct. But first, as always, we have some disclaimers to go through. So, Dunhill Financial is a registered investment advisor. The information presented is for educational purposes only and does not intend to make an offer or solicitation for the sale or purchase of any specific securities, investments, or investment strategies. Investments involve risk and, unless otherwise stated, are not guaranteed. Be sure to first consult with a qualified advisor and/or tax professional before implementing any strategies discussed herein. And bear with me because we have a second disclaimer. Now, Dunhill Financial has a referral partnership with Wise. If you choose to sign up for a Wise account through our link, we may receive a referral fee. This does not increase your cost in any way, and you're under no obligation to use Wise. Our recommendation is based on our independent assessment, but please make sure to consider whether Wise is suitable for your own situation. Whew, with that out of the way, Brian, why don't you take the lead?
Thanks so much, Paulina, and welcome, June. It is wonderful to have you straight in from Austin so that we can start this whole thing up by talking a little bit of barbecue, but more importantly, where the currency markets have been this last year and how we can go ahead and get our money into the right denominations so that we can go have the best of baguettes, the best of pasta in Italy, and everything that we want to live our best lives as happy, jolly Americans. June, why don't you
Thanks for having me, Ryan.
why don't you give us a little bit of your background and tell us how Wise can help all of our clients as they make their journeys out of America?
Yeah, definitely. Hi, everyone. Thank you for having us today. I'm very, very excited to be here. Today, I want to go through some of the topics, mainly on the top three currency transfer challenge as American living abroad. So my name is June, and I'm a product lead at Wise. So I've been at Wise for a little bit over 2 years now, working on the Wise account, working on with our business customers to kind of deal with their international transfer and international currency life. Before that, I spent a long tenure in gaming, actually. I worked at Warner Brothers for a long time and Scopely and such. And I have a past life. I always joke that was so long ago that I don't remember that anymore. I was an auditor for 5 years. I worked at KPMG and PwC. It was a pretty big difference from audit to mobile gamings at Warner Brothers. So that was quite a switch. And now I'm in fintech. So today we're going to look at some of the biggest challenge when sending, receiving, or converting money when living abroad. So I'll first give you an overview of who and what Wise is. Then we'll discuss some of the hidden fees in exchange rate, the opaque international payment process and speed, and wrap it up with kind of the tax reporting side of things, how you can do that with Wise. And then we do some Q&A at the end. So what is Wise? For those that are not familiar with Wise, it is an international account where you can hold, spend, and receive in multiple currencies, all from one account. So we're beyond a money transfer app. If you know us, you might have known us as TransferWise back in the days. We had a rebranding a couple years ago because we have stepped into becoming an international account beyond just money transfer. But money transfer is still our bread and butter. So I'm highlighting some of the functions and or features that you can have with us is you can hold up to 40 currency at once. That include all the popular currency like USD, GBP, Euro, CNY, BRL, and whatnot. You can also get local account details in over 8 currency. That means you can get a GB IBAN and you can get a Euro IBAN and you can receive money as a local person. And if you don't have if you don't have American accounts, you can get local routing number and account number as USD local account details to receive money that way. That's very convenient. And we automatically apply discounts on large transfer over 20K GBP within a single month. And that come with dedicated specialist support will help you with every step of the way. And we have a debit card, as you can see, hiding behind this phone. And you spend like a local when traveling abroad with this card. So here is we call this the bento box. Here is all the stats that we're very proud of Wise. We're serving over 50 million active customers today, and we have processed over 185 billion dollars in volume last year. And all of this is powered by over 100 banking and payment partnerships. And we, using that kind of network, enable us to have over the 40 currencies that I mentioned earlier, you can hold and send. And also this infrastructure enable us to do a very fast transfer for you. So
Yeah,
with Wise,
I love that bento box because it reminds me the entire history of Wise just being two gentlemen, one getting paid in, was it euros?
yes, in
Was
euros, and
it,
we get them paid in GPB.
and all they said was, "Hey, how about I just give you the euros and I give you the GBP instead of us paying the banks a whole bunch of money." And
Yes,
because one of them was a fintech guy, wasn't he? He was a
yes.
Skype. Was he one of the first people at Skype?
Yes, I love that you bring up the story. I also love that story. So one of our Tarva, he was employee number one at Skype, or employee number two. I think the employee number one at Skype, and our CEO and also co-founder, Crystal, right now, he used to work at, I believe, was Deloitte Consulting, one of the big four. That was exactly the story. They met each other at like a party, and they're like, "I need euro, I need GPB," and they just exchange hand. They're like, "Okay, why don't we do this more often?" And why don't we just do this instead of letting the bank taking a huge cut? And that's how the company was founded. Like, how can we enable this kind of network? At a much larger scale, and to have the money without border was our, the brick and mortar, the mission statement that we have at Wise.
It's so necessary because every single time you'd leave a country, you'd have a bunch of bills, and you'd arrange those types of things with your friends. Hey, here's 20 euros. Let me get
Exactly,
some pounds the next time you're coming over. Um,
exactly,
but this
exactly. It
does away
started
with
with a very like just like a friends exchange concept and built into this, this machine. So with Wise, we also are able to, protect your money because we're licensed by the authorities worldwide. As you can imagine, we are operating in many, many, many countries, and all of them local regulators will have their oversight over us. And we safeguard the money held at major banks like Barclays and JP Morgan. And obviously some of the kind of the standard now, which is the account two-factor authorization to make sure that we are protecting your account. And the last one I love is because by the time I finish this slide, we are already ran probably like 8,000 checks because we're running 80 checks a second on every single transfer. Every day we run 7 million daily checks to spot and prevent fraud. These are all built in-house. We have a gigantic fin crime team with product, with engineering, with operation to protect your money at all time. So that's all with Wise, and diving into the three challenges you mainly face when you are a US citizen living abroad. The first one is foreign hidden exchange fee, and this is exactly how the story started. It's because converting currency can be very expensive and the exchange rate can be volatile. And the second one is also the downfall of doing with traditional legacy institution is a opaque payment process and speed. If you have transfer money before with the bank, you probably have noticed that the international payments are very slow and you don't know where your money is. You don't know how much it will arrive or when it will arrive. And we'll dive into why that is the case. And also, like American living abroad, still have tax obligation, and you would need accurate statement to submit to the IRS. So we're going to go over these three challenges and help you understand better how to overcome them. The first part is a foreign exchange fee, hidden exchange fee, we call that. So it is very important to be mindful are the many provider advertise that there's no transfer fees, but the reality is the exchange rates are marked up. So the exchange rate that they use is not what you're going to see on Google. It is not the rate we call the mid-market rate. So the fee has been baked into the exchange rate. So you end up receiving less on the other side, and they could cost thousands annually if you're sending a large amount. So how does it usually work? It's because bank would purchase currency in bulk at a discounted rate. They would then add their own margin when selling those currencies to you. This markup is where they drive their profits, and obviously it's not transparent to you as a customer. So to help you navigate the challenge of these hidden fees, there's some top tips. Obviously, look for providers that offer transparency in fees and pricing structure, and always compare your providers and find the real exchange rate. Real exchange rate is the one that you see on Google, on Bloomberg. Those are the mid-market rate. We have a price comparison tool to see how different providers compare to each other. I will show you in a second. And Wise also, we always use the mid-market rate, and we tell you exactly how much fee we're charging you. We don't blend it into the exchange rate that we use. We just tell you we're taking this much cut, versus, oh, we don't have a transfer fee. We don't do a fee, but then bake all that into the mid-market rate, or bake all that into the exchange rate. So this is a tool you can get on wise.com, and then you can just find Wise comparison. We have a comparison table with the providers. We show you what is the exchange rate that they're using at the moment. We are using the mid-market rate, which you can compare at any time. This is refreshed every 10 to 15 seconds, to be honest, because one time I was doing some testing and I was like, wait a second, why is my rate different already? And then my engineer told me, oh yeah, this is refreshed like every 15 or 30 seconds. So this is a real rate. But once you locked in the rate, when you are doing an exchange, we guarantee you the rate range from 8 hours to 24 hours. You get locked in if you've completed the transfer within that time. And you can see the other providers having their own rate, but they tell you there's no transfer fee. But we just tell you that, yes, we're charging $64 for this transfer, and this is how much your recipient's going to get if you're sending 20,000 USD. And you can tell that these other providers, they will end up receiving less, is because all those are baked into the exchange rate. And sometimes we may not be the cheapest option for every single route. And we'll let you know, like this actually would show you we're second or whatnot, like if we don't have the absolute like cheapest. But I would say most of the time that when I'm doing testing, we are the cheapest, just because we're taking a much lower cut than the bank and then other providers. So the other part of exchange rate is the volatility. As you know, this year has been quite a roller coaster with the exchange rate fluctuate quite a bit. They can also, the timing really affect how much you receive when you're converting the exchange rate. And if you want to track it every day, that's very tedious and time consuming. So I have a video for you. If this will play. So we have this thing as exchange rate updates in our app. This is a live video that I just got it from my phone. So pardon the not so polished part of this, but this is a live exchange rate would tell you a graph of today's mid-market rate on all the currencies that you can get. You can see this in 24/7 on the app and also on online. We let you set up exchange rate updates. What that is you can go in, create a new alert. I want to track USD to Euro. We tell you what the rate is every day. You can get a daily update here when you send you a notification about the rate of today, or you can get a threshold update. Hey, only tell me if you reach a certain desired rate. And the other one is a auto conversion, which I personally, as a product person, I feel we don't advertise this enough because it's such a good feature for the customer. So this is our calculator. When you enter the calculator amount, say that I want to send 1,000 USD to GPB, we let you set an auto conversion right here. What that means is, okay, right now the rate is 1 USD to 76 cents GPB. I want to convert when this is 80 cents or whatnot. And then you can confirm the rate, and then we'll remind you. As long as you have the $1,000 in your available balance, we will convert it as soon as it hit 80 cents. I personally did this when I was traveling oh, are you guys even seeing the video? I just realized you guys are not seeing the video. Brian, can you see a video that I was showing?
Yep, we've got it on here.
Okay, because I was just seeing that it was being overlaid. Okay, great. But I was saying that I personally get to use this when I was traveling to Japan. I planned it months ahead, and Japanese yen was volatile at the time, so I I set up to 1 USDT equal to 150, and I converted quite a few times. So I was able to take advantage of a very good exchange rate. So plan ahead always help, especially if you want to do a large amount, and if you can wait, then obviously these tools are very useful for you to take advantage of these radar alerts and auto conversions features with us. So that's the first part of exchange rate, volatility, and also hidden fee. The second part is the opaque process and speed. So why is it so slow and opaque in the existing system? So I'll give you a very quick overview of what the existing system is. Right now, if you are sending from Australia to a bank in UK, these two banks do not have a direct connection. They don't talk to each other in a way. So you can think of like, I live in Austin. If I want to go to Maldives, there is no direct flight from Austin to Maldives ever. So I need to take a bunch of transfer flights. I need to first probably fly to San Francisco to Singapore, Singapore to Indonesia, and then Indonesia to like Bali, whatever. So that would be the same idea as this corresponding banking system, where these two banks do not have a connection between the two. So they will find that their UK correspondent this is the APAC correspondent, and then the APAC correspondent find their EU Europe correspondent and UK correspondent, and then you have maybe a big bank like Barclay or HSBC that can send to this local bank in UK. And that's why during this process, every single bank in between, correspondent bank, will apply their own exchange rate. They will may or may not apply their own fee, and they run their own schedule. Some of them may clear in a day, some of them may clear in 3 days. That's why this is so opaque when you ask your bank in Australia, why don't I get my money yet? Because they're like, oh, I don't know if this money with the second bank or the third bank and how much they're charging. And that's why the recipient amount can fluctuate and you're not sure how much you're getting. It's because they might take a own fee and they take a cut in between. So with our Wise platform, that we were able to do it. We have visibility end to end because the sender, you were sending us to Wise Australia, and in Australia, we'll send it out into issue the Wise UK will pay out. So we have visibility into the whole process and how much you're going to get at the end of the day because we control the end-to-end process. So the bento box, again, remember the slide. 74%, this is why 74% of our end-to-end payments are instant, which we define as arriving in 20 seconds. And instant equal to less stress. Less stress wondering where your money is, how much it will arrive, when it will arrive. And this transparency really is the cornerstone of Wise, of why we want to be transparent. It is actually one of the pillar of the mission pillar that we have. What does it unlock for you? Is you will have real-time tracking of this transfer. If you wonder why this timestamp this is actually a real screenshot from my phone. Why the timestamp didn't move, it was because it was completed within a minute. That's why there's a timestamp didn't move. It was not a fake timestamp. I did a test with my friend and it arrived within 30 seconds. We have upfront rate and fee. So we tell you, like I said, we tell you $3.44, we tell you exactly the breakdown of that fee. And then we do a guaranteed delivery amount. Your recipient would get exactly £1,000 or €1,000 in this case. Now, the last part is a complex tax reporting. So US citizens abroad used to have annual tax obligation, and the IRS demands precision in the reporting and require accurate and detailed financial informations. There's a significant burden lies in record keeping, and as expat, you must gather and convert all the foreign income and account activity into USD for tax reporting. This requirements adds a layer of complexity and can be very time consuming and making it a daunting task. So it is essential to understand these responsibilities to avoid penalties. So inside Wise, you can access and download this report as simple as you can go to your account, get to statement and reports, and then tax statements, and you pick your tax country as US, and you request the US tax statement, and there you go, and they'll be ready. When they're ready, they'll be sent to you. So top tips is to keep thorough financial records throughout the year to ensure the accuracy in your tax filings, and do consult with a tax professional who understand intricacy of kind of expat tax to help you navigate these compliance requirements. On our side, we help you to effortlessly generate the IRS compliance statements, but this is not a tax advice. Obviously, you still need to consult with your tax professional.
Hey, June, are you able to pull two different currencies on there? I.e., could you state I am a United States and then also pull it for United Kingdom?
Yes, you can do different tax countries.
Perfect. That's really important for all the Americans on this call because you will be responsible for reporting both in the United States and the country that you're resident in. Therefore, you might have those two declarations, and that gives you the exact currency rate for each of those countries.
Yep. Cool. So how does it all work? I'll walk you through it quickly. We have an app. So if you're an app person, you can download the app, and this is a same process. We just require your email, and then we verify your email afterward, and get a phone number. We do a two-step verification, which is pretty standard these days. You have to state your country of residency, of where you're living at the time, name, birth, date of birth, address, and we will verify. The verification depends on where you're registered, as well as which currency and how much you're sending. Some of this, for example, in the US, if you're registering a profile as in the US, saying that you live in the US most of the time, then we don't need to verify the ID until you're sending over $3,000 because this is US regulations. Or if you're opening up the account, then you have to verify your IDs, do a selfie and proof of address. UK is different. UK and EU, they do KYC, so all these verification from zero. That means everybody need to go through this, and that's just a local requirement difference, and it's a compliance thing that we must comply with. How do you get local account details? This is those GB IBAN number I told you, the sort code, Euro IBAN number you can get to get paid like a local person or pay your local vendor or personnel. You can get account details, and then you can select a currency that you want to add. We have 8 currency with account details, but you can hold money up to 40 currencies. You can hold, for example, HKG, Hong Kong dollar. But we don't have account details yet. Oh, actually, we do have account details. We just added this. Roll it back. CNY, Chinese Yuan, we don't have account details, but we can hold the currency in that, and you can do conversion between different account details. And you can get account details, and that's it.
When you're holding those funds, they're not interest bearing, correct?
Actually, that's a great intro. We have 2 different products. In the US, if your profile is US country, that means you register as a US profile, living here most of the time. We have an interest product that is offering if you opt in, and if you're not subject to tax withholding, meaning I can just generate a W-9 for you, then we can offer a 3.4% interest rate without any minimum. Right now, it used to be actually 3.9, and as you can imagine, over the months we had to reduce as the rate was reduced. 3.4%. We only took out a very small portion as operating expense. We actually don't make profit much on this interest piece. It's more of a customer benefit for us to make sure people are holding money with us. That's why we're able to offer 3.4%. No minimum balance holding. There's no like minimum requirement. As long as you can confirm that you are not subject to tax withholding in the US, then you're eligible to opt in. And you can just take all the money out any day you want. It's 100% liquid. It's not like a savings account or whatnot that is not as liquid. How it works is if you say that you hold money 20 days out of a month with us, and you decide to take all the money out on the last 10 days, the next month, the first day of the next month, we just pay you 20 days worth of interest. The last 10 days is just not counted. And you can just opt in and out, take money in and out, add more money in, then we calculate that 1 day difference and whatnot. So like it is a very good offering for holding USD. That is the US interest. If you are in UK, we offer assets product. So that one is you think of it as a money market fund. It is pretty similar percentage. You opt into the assets. However, it will tell you that it's capital at risk because for compliance reason, we'll have to say so. It is not a pure high yield savings account. It is actually a, a fund in the back, but it was a very stable fund backed by like the equivalent of like a treasury product. But these are the similar percentage, about three. I believe, I cannot call on this. I can get the percentage for you guys afterward, but it's very similar to the US product. So we have two versions flavor of this in the UK and in the US. And I'm not sure if anybody here on the call from other countries and stuff. We also offer assets in other countries, but those are the two main offerings.
All FDIC guaranteed,
Yes,
SIPC.
yes. So for the interest product, it is FDIC insured, and then the UK is FCSC insured.
Perfect.
So, yep. So we can, once you get the account details, it will look something like this, where you can get your account number and sort code. And then you can set up your account details in DF Direct, and you can receive your stock shares payment without any conversion fees. So this is account how it would look like, which you can receive money like a local person.
Brilliant. This
Yep.
is our back end for DF Direct, and we go through a service that is owned by Visa. All of you have heard of Visa. They're called Plaid, and essentially, you can log directly your Wise account to the system. So, DF Direct at this point in time is only accepting US dollars, and that's why it was so important for us to have a partner like Wise that can convert at a very, very cheap price from whatever currency you're wanting to send in to get it into dollars. And then you can connect your account just directly with these steps, of which Ruben and Paulina were nice enough to add those cookie crumbs right in there of logging into your Wise account, and attaching it to be able to pull money or push money at any time. June, you're able to push and pull, right?
Yes.
So
We have direct debit, and then you can push, yep.
so nice, easy process. If you have any troubles with that, just drop us an email at info@dunhillfinancial.com, and we'll be able to help you connect your accounts directly in there on DF Direct.
Yep, awesome. Oh, this is just another way that on the rate alerts that I showed you earlier, there's different entry points and a conversion point of view. So who can use Wise? Obviously when you're transferring funds overseas for things like property purchase, investing abroad, inheritance, living fund, travel. I haven't talked much about this, but we have a card product that's very popular as well. It's a debit card product. We do not, as long as if you have fund in any of the currencies, you don't have to transfer ahead of time. So what I mean is you could either do the auto conversions, set a good rate, and then get a good deal on the transfer. And you want to spend in Europe, so you convert USD to Euro, X amount ahead of time. And then once that rate go through, you can just take your car and spend in Euro the moment you land, and that was spent straight from your Euro balance. Then there's no fee involved at all because that money has already been converted into Euro. And if you forgot or you didn't get the rate that you want, you didn't plan ahead, you just want to do a kind of a last minute weekend trip and you go to Europe, you don't have Euro balance in your Wise account. You just swipe, you only have balance in your USD account. You swipe, we on the spot convert USD to Euro, and with the same amount of like percentage of fee that we do, which is a lot lower than what you would get from a 3 to 5% from your local bank, because you probably heard of this foreign exchange, a foreign currency fee, which is very, very swifty. And they also use, on top of that, the fee, they also use their own opaque exchange rate. So I would say that using their card product while traveling is also super convenient. And we have a digital card, physical card that you can just do it in your Apple Pay and Google Pay. And you just tap it on the go.
I think it's worth this just for one thing, to never have to worry about which currency do you select when you go to the duty-free shop and it says, would you like to pay in US dollars or GBP? And you're scratching your head. Even though I sit here and look at the currencies on a daily basis, I
Yeah.
always end up scratching my head going, which one is it? Which one is it? With the
I
Wise
have
card, you
I
don't.
have a trick for that. So if you transfer money, if you like do conversion ahead of time, which is great. Sometimes they might still ask you, do you want to pay USD or Euro? Well, my one trick is when shop local, then pay local. So you should always pay local because there's a dynamic, I forgot the exact terminology, but the dynamic conversion rate that they apply to it, which is the merchant side, will also pick a exchange rate to, which means that, and then your bank gonna get pick exchange rate. So that will be a double whammy in a sense. So like shop local, pay local, always select the local currency.
Perfect.
So I think this is kind of the, oh, I got ahead of time. We do have a slide on the Wise card. This is exactly the, you always have the right currency on hand. And we have offered the physical and digital card and connect to your mobile account. Limits. So send and receive. The limits are dependent on the currency involved. It's up to $1 million per wire transfer, 1 million for GBP, and then 1.2 million for Euro. There's no limit on receiving money to your Wise account details. So, but your bank might still have limits to send it out. So you will have to check with your domestic bank for those things. But yeah, that's all for today. And as a benefit for signing up to Wise through Dunhill Financial, you also get one fee-free transfer up to 1,000 GBP or equivalent to test it out. Give it a try, see if you like the product. You can scan the QR code on the screen. And if we have time, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Perfect. June, I don't know if many Americans know how big Wise is. It is.
Yeah. It's not very we're really trying to expand in the US, building a much stronger presence in the US. We're over 6,000 people in the worldwide, and we have multiple headquarters. So UK, we have a UK is the London is the headquarter, and then we have a Europe big hub in Tallinn, Estonia, because one of our founders is from Estonia. If you haven't been, it's a very fun place. We have a big office, big hub in APAC, Singapore, and then Austin is our US North End hub.
So large company. Last I looked, market cap around $9 billion,
Oh
which is
yes, we're listed
huge.
public in London Exchange.
And to put that in perspective, it's the 51st largest company here in the UK. It happens to not be in the FTSE 100, which I've never actually looked up why it's not, but essentially it is almost in the top 50 largest companies here in the UK. I find these types of things important because naturally, when we're sending our money through there, there's a lot of these vendors that especially don't have your money set up in a segregated account in your name. Here we have a large company that does segregate your assets, and that becomes important from a banking vantage point because what happens, God forbid, if we have some sort of anomaly like a Lehman Brothers or a Bear Stearns, well, our money's protected because it's in our name, but we're also at a large institution that keeps things a little bit safer. So I always want to try to make sure to minimize what could happen in the worst case scenario. And that's why I like not only low cost, but someplace that's nice and safe.
Oh, I see there is
We
questions
have a few
in
questions
the
there for you.
chats. Yes. So does US resident also get interest on the balance they hold in euro? Yes, they do. As US resident, you can opt in. We provide interest on USD, GPB, and euro. But the rate on the euro, I'll be very honest, is a lot lower than USD because of the European Central Bank has reduced their rate a lot sooner than the Fed, and we have to match the rate over there. So right now it's 80 bips, so 0.8% on the APY for euro. GPB is 2.42% if you hold GPB, and USD is 3.4%. All these you can do as a US resident. Obviously, if you set up your account, if you live in Europe for a long time, or like majority of your time, your residency is in Europe or UK, you can open your account as a UK profile, and that you will be eligible for the assets product in the UK. I can get you the information after the webinar on the exact rate. Just because I don't have visibility on my app right now, I am the US profile to know the exact rate for those. Those definitely going to be, I think, tend to be higher because it is not a pure high yield interest that tied to the central bank rate. So if you set up when you're living in America, can you just change your address to France upon arrival to get the EU IBAN? That's a great question. You don't need to change your address to get the EU IBAN. You can get the EU IBAN when you are living in the US. I have the EU IBAN living in the US. We allow you to open these IBAN or get these local account details when you are living in the US. So I have USD account details, I have GBP, IBAN, and sort code. And I have the EU IBAN right now if I can show. I don't know if this is a good idea. You can see it. Like I can just, what? Not a good idea. Okay, I just have it right now. You don't need to move to get it. Is there a way to schedule auto conversion to happen? Yes. So that point, it wouldn't be auto conversion. It's called schedule transfer because we cannot guarantee you the rate. If you want to schedule on a desired date, we will, in the calculator, you can select schedule transfer on this date, particular day, and we will do the transfer. But as you can imagine, we cannot guarantee you the rate at that point because we wouldn't know what the rate is at that day. It's not like auto conversion when you hit the rate and then we convert. Any plans to do joint account? We have this thing called roadmap request on Wise, and joint account always comes up. I would say that keep an eye out for this. We are experimenting or having a phase one on joint spending. So spend from the same account, but not a complete joint account where there's some intricacy to that, but basically spending, having different cards, spending from the same account. We do have plans in the future, but that's step one for us. Any other questions in the webinar? In the chat room?
Oh, we got a Q&A. Do I need to file an F-bar for each account I have if I move funds in minutes? So this is one of those up in the air questions. It's really up to your tax preparer whether you file the F-bar for the WISE account or not. I would essentially say the majority of tax preparers will want to actually disclose it from the vantage point that it does have those banking access vantage points. And I would agree with that being the most conservative vantage point. Remember, an F-bar filing doesn't actually require any taxes to be paid. It's just disclosing that you have an account that was there and it had a certain balance, and you have the high watermark balance for the year. So no cost to do so. So we'd recommend doing so. June, I don't think you would have touched that question, would you?
Thank you. Appreciate that.
What I'd remind you all is we have an administration in the United States. Don't worry, I'm not going to get all political on you, but we have an administration in the United States that wants to devalue the US dollar. So after a good 14 years of the dollar being the strong currency of the world, it is the Trump administration's view that they want to push that down. And they've done a good job of it for this first 10 months of the year, 11 months of the year. Geez, wow, this year has just flown by. And 2026, we would not expect any differences. June astutely pointed out that the base rate for euro deposits is 0.8 and the US dollar deposit rate for WISE is 3.4, did you say, or 3.6?
Yes,
3.4. Now, that differential, as interest rates come down in the United States, which most of the investment banks are actually predicting that the Federal Reserve will bring down interest rates further in the US. If they go down further, what would we expect? If there's not that divergence in interest rates, there will probably be a flow to euros from US dollars, i.e., devaluing the US dollar further. So don't just use those interest rates as your means to decide which currency your money should be in. It should, first of all, be based on your financial plan. If you're living in Europe and your emergencies would be in Europe, your emergency funds should be in euros. Otherwise, you're speculating. Second of all, your near-term goals. A lot of people, when we go back to that slide that June put up there, of all the different reasons why you might need funds. If you're going to need funds in the next year or two in euros for the purchase of a house or a big vacation or whatever it might be, you might want to start planning that ahead of time, because a 5 or 10% move in the currencies can hurt those goals just as much as it can help them at different times. So we don't want to speculate when we're not speculating. So make sure to build your plan accordingly. All of our financial advisors at Dunhill Financial can help you to figure out where that optimal level might be for those different currencies, how much you'll want to have in those emergency funds, how much you might want to have for those nearer goals, and then how much you want to have fully invested in your DF Direct accounts or in your investment accounts with us. If we don't have any more questions, I would like to give a big thank you to you, June. We're really excited about this partnership. We know with a lot of the emerging affluent, DF Direct is giving them the opportunity to save early and often with no minimums and a low cost basis. Now with our partnership with Wise, you'll be able to get your local funds into US dollars so you can get them invested over there at DF Direct quickly and easily.
Yep. Thank you so much for having me here. And I'll leave my email here in case anyone has other follow-up questions that you have. Feel free to kind of reach out and yeah, shoot me an email.
Thanks so much. Thank you everybody for joining, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye now.
Bye.